Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are strapping in for a pretty direct flight into the world of high-stakes digital advertising.
A very sharp-edged world.
It is.
Yeah.
And our mission today isn't just to, look at some agency's website. It's to really get a quick but deep understanding of what a dominant Google ad strategy looks like.
Right. How they measure it, how they charge for it, and, what really separates the winners from, well, everyone else.
Exactly. And we're drilling down into the blueprint of a specific Google Ads agency that's making a really bold claim. They define success not as just participating in the market.
But as total domination, which, when you're the one spending the money, that's a pretty compelling idea. Understanding these kinds of elite metrics is really a shortcut to getting ahead.
It is. And the claim that just jumped out at me from the source was their goal: dominate Google top page. That is a very aggressive, a very competitive stance.
Oh, it is. It's basically saying, look, it's not enough to be on the first page, not even in the top few ads. They want their client to be the first thing a customer sees every single time.
And to back that up, they have this really specific set of guarantees. They call it the 222 commitment. I think we should just jump right into this because it defines their speed and their ethics.
Let's do it. So the first two is all about speed. They promise to get a client into the Google top 3 ad spots in just 2 hours.
2 hours. So you're basically visible almost immediately.
Instantly. But then the second two is the domination part. They promise to outrank most of your rivals within 2 days.
So no long testing phase. They're making a direct, measurable promise right out of the gate.
Yeah, they're basically saying, we know how to fight and we can start winning now. But the third two, this one for me is the most radical part.
I think I know which one you mean.
They limit themselves to only 2 clients per industry, and this has been their code since 2012.
Okay, wait. So in a business like advertising, which is all about scale, they're intentionally capping their own growth. That sounds like they're leaving a lot of money on the table.
It sounds like it, but it's actually brilliant. Think about the massive conflict of interest in most agencies. If an agency has 5 competing dental clinics, who are they really trying to help win?
Right. Who gets the best strategy?
Exactly. This 2-client rule means they have to prioritize the long-term success of their current clients. Their incentive is to make you dominate because they can't just sign up your competitor tomorrow.
So their success is finite. If they take on, say, one specialist eczema clinic, there's only one more spot open in that market segment. They can't just replace you.
Precisely. They cap their growth so their clients can scale theirs. It's a huge differentiator.
Okay, that structure really sets the stage. Let's dig into the data, because if you're promising domination, you have to have the numbers to prove it.
And this is where it gets interesting. They focus on data that they claim other agencies tend to sweep under the rug.
Which is?
It's a report in Google Ads called Auction Insights. For anyone who isn't in this data every day, just think of it as the scoreboard. It's the one thing they can't hide.
It shows you exactly how you stack up against your rivals, in real percentages.
Yes, and I can see why a struggling agency would want to avoid showing that to a client. I mean, it's black and white proof of whether you're winning or losing.
And they make a crucial point, too. No ad can rank at the top 100% of the time. It's just not possible.
Right, so since 100% is impossible, Auction Insights becomes the only real way to verify how often you're winning that battle.
So what are the key metrics? The specific numbers they use to prove this domination?
They boil it down to 3 main ones. First is search impression share, or SIS.
Which is basically how often your ad shows up versus how often it could have shown up.
Exactly, your share of the pie. The second is top of page rate. So how often you made it into those first 4 ad results. You're in the prime real estate.
And the third one, this is the big one for their strategy, absolute top of page rate.
That's the crown. That's the metric that shows how often you claimed the #1 ad slot, the very first result. That is the only thing that really defines domination in their view.
It's not just visibility, it's ownership of that top spot.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, let's talk about the money, the financial structure. Because it's surprisingly flexible. No contract, no minimum term, cancel anytime, 0 setup fee.
Yeah, but the real game changer is how they handle the ad budget itself. This goes right back to that conflict of interest thing.
The client pays Google directly.
Correct. The agency takes no fee on ad spend. They only charge a flat monthly retainer for their management.
Which is so critical because it means they aren't incentivized to just get you to spend more money.
Exactly. Their only incentive is to hit those domination metrics, that impression share and that absolute top of page rate, as efficiently as possible. Their retainer depends on their brains, not on your budget.
It's proof they believe their strategy is what's valuable. Plus, you know you're working with a certified Google partner, which adds another layer of trust. So let's get into the packages. Section 2. We're looking at 4 plans, A through D. And just for context, the currency is the Malaysian ringgit, so the numbers might seem high, but they're roughly in line with, say, hiring a junior salesperson.
Good context. And it's worth noting all of their plans include IP blocking against ad abusers, which is a nice touch.
So Plan A, it's the entry level, a retainer of RM 1,500 a month for an ad spend up to RM 2,500. It's just for search ads.
And they include a free RM 1,500 Google credit for new accounts, which basically covers your first month's retainer. It's a very low-risk way to start.
But the real domination strategy kicks in at the higher levels. Plan B, that's a RM 2,500 retainer for up to RM 3,500 in ad spend. And this is where they introduce a hard target.
Yes, they're targeting 50% plus search impression share and 50% plus absolute top of page rate. And they state this has to be verified in auction insights.
So you're paying for a measurable outcome. And this is where the 2 client per industry rule also starts.
Right. Competitive protection is guaranteed even at this mid-level.
Then you get to Plan C, a RM 3,500 retainer for up to RM 4,500 in ad spend. And the targets get more aggressive.
They do. It jumps to 65% plus for both search impression share and absolute top of page rate. And to hit that, they add display ads into the mix, so a wider net.
And finally, for the businesses that want to be everywhere, there's Plan D RM 5,000 retainer, and here the ad spend is unlimited.
And the target is, frankly, uncompromising. 80% plus search impression share and 80% plus absolute top of page rate. To do that, they throw everything at it: search, display, and YouTube ads.
So the message is clear. The more you invest in the retainer, the more aggressive the domination targets become. You're paying for strategic warfare, not just keyword management.
And that level of management running, search, display, YouTube, all while aiming for an 80% top rating, that's intense. That's what justifies the higher fee.
Which brings us to how they actually do it. Section 3, they have this proprietary framework called TREEY.
Yeah, and what I like about this is it's a clear 5-step process. It shows the whole life cycle, from getting seen fast to actually making money from it.
Okay, so T is for top. Get seen fast. That connects right back to their 2-hour promise. Just get in the top 3 spots now.
Triage, exactly. Then R is for rise, climb to number 1. This is the daily battle for that absolute top spot, and they say it's all verifiable in their reports.
Makes sense. Once you're there, E is for exposure. Show up more. This is about refining keywords, cutting out the wasted clicks so you only show up for the people who are really looking for you.
And the second E is efficiency. Spend smarter. This is the constant analysis. You cut the losers, you test new winners, you boost what's converting.
And the efficiency you gain there helps fund the exposure. It's a cycle.
It's a self-improving loop. And it all leads to Y for yield. Turn clicks into cash. The ads run 24/7. And they also say, if it's just not working for your business model, they'll tell you. They won't just keep taking the fee.
And the proof is, in the case studies they share, they use those same metrics, SIS and absolute top of page rate, to show the results.
Let's look at the skin specialist example. This is a tough one because of Google's restrictions on health-related keywords like eczema.
Right. But the results are pretty wild. A search impression share of almost 70%. So they appeared in 7 out of every 10 relevant searches.
But look at the competition. Their rivals were all below 10%, and that absolute top of page rate, 83.55%. That clinic owned the number 1 spot more than 8 out of 10 times. It's just total dominance.
And then there's the property agent in KLCC, a super competitive, super expensive market.
Oh, astronomical cost per click there. And they got 79% of the absolute top spots. They spent over RM 18,000 to get 1,800 clicks. But in that market, those high-intent clicks are pure gold.
But the one that really shows the power of strategy over budget is the fitness center.
Absolutely. This one is for anyone who thinks you just have to outspend everyone. They're on a tight budget, just under RM 1,500. And yet they secured the absolute number 1 ad spot 81.12% of the time. They crushed 5 other competitors. To do that on a small budget means your quality score is so good, Google wants to put you first.
It's the ultimate proof of efficiency, getting the best placement without paying the highest price.
And the last one, the Roof Waterproofing Company, just shows massive, consistent visibility. Over 77% impression share, and at times, they were in the top results almost 98% of the time for keywords like ceiling leaking.
Just a fire hose of relevant traffic.
Fire hose.
Okay, so these case studies lead us to the client side of things. Section 4, who do they not work with? This checklist tells you a lot about who they believe they can actually help.
It does. They start with what they call the lowballer rule. If you don't get that Google marketing costs at least as much as hiring a salesperson, they basically say, don't even bother contacting them.
They set that investment expectation right up front. Then there's the size exclusion, which I found fascinating. They won't work with huge companies.
Yeah, anyone making over RM 50 million or with more than 200 staff is out.
Why?
They say it's to avoid too much red tape. They want to work directly with the boss so they can make decisions and move fast. No getting bogged down in committee meetings.
It's an efficiency play. They can't hit an 80% domination target if the client takes a week to approve a single ad change.
Exactly. And then there's the technical requirement.
Mm.
You have to have a mobile-friendly website. They're not going to waste their time driving traffic to a bad user experience.
Of course. And then there's the long list of prohibited industries. Things like gambling, Forex, MLM, political campaigns. A lot of the usual suspects.
It all paints a picture of an agency that is hyper-focused. They value speed, clean data, and direct communication over just signing any client who has a checkbook.
This all ties back to the pain points they mentioned in the founder's notes section of the site. They hear, Google Ads is useless all the time.
And they argue that feeling comes from either the wrong management or from agencies hiding the real performance data. They also warn about generic Google Ads account managers, calling them budget burners.
Which brings it all full circle back to their main selling point. We don't hide the auction insights. We show you the scoreboard.
Transparency is the only way to prove their model works. It's a completely performance-driven system.
So if we boil this all down, our main takeaway from this deep dive is that in this high-stakes game, verifiable domination is the new currency. We're not just talking about being visible.
No, it's about those hard-to-fake metrics like search impression share and especially that absolute top-of-page rate. Owning that #1 slot is domination. Anything else is just participation.
And when you, the listener, are looking for a marketing partner, the agency's structure and ethics, like the 2-client limit or the no fee on ad spend model, are just as important as the results they promise.
They eliminate that conflict of interest and make sure everyone is fighting for the same goal.
Exactly. Okay, let's wrap up with a final thought for you to chew on. It comes from another little insight buried in their materials. They suggest that if your website traffic is dropping, it might be because you're still thinking about SEO.
But Google has already moved on. It's not just a search engine anymore. It's evolved into an answer engine.
So here's the provocative thought. What does that shift from search engine optimization, SEO, to answer engine optimization, AEO? What does that actually mean for your business? If Google's goal is to give the answer directly on the results page, not just send a click to your site, how do you have to change your entire strategy to stay relevant?
How do you make sure you are still the source of that answer?
That's something to think about.
Food for thought indeed.
Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll see you next time.